Hello, and welcome to this Project Management Basics lesson on RACI charts. An RACI or RACI chart is one way to keep track of who's involved with a task or a project. It involves breaking down who is involved in the project or task so you know how to communicate with them and how to engage with them and what to expect from those groups. And it helps them understand the expectations placed on them as well. We're going to build one together in Confluence, but we're basically going to break them into 4 groups. First, we'll start with responsible, the R. This is the individual or group of individuals who are going to be getting the work done. In the example of building a house, this might be the construction crew, or the plumber or pipe fitter, or the individual delivering supplies. For an example for software, this might be the software developers who will actually write the code to do the thing. There can be just a single responsible individual, and there might be multiple. And if it's an individual, they also may be accountable, which is our A. There should only ever be a single accountable person, and this makes it very clear who's on the hook for the project or event. They will take the blame if something goes sideways and hopefully get and share the glory when things go well, but this is the one person who is ultimately responsible, and it's a silly way to phrase it because there is a responsible in the RACI, but this person is ultimately accountable for the success or failure of this thing. Typically, this will be a project manager, an executive, someone like that. The C is for consult, and this is an individual or group who might have input on the process or thing you're doing. Common examples include talking to a legal department about how something's going, or finding an expert in a special technology to give their ideas on how you can improve what you're doing. This might be a legal expert, someone in HR, someone from the outside, a consultant who will come in and consult to help you out. And last, we've got inform. This is the individual or group who you'll just give updates on what's going on. You might include them in regular messages or invite them to meetings, but they won't be doing the work and they won't be consulting or providing much input on it. Now, it is possible for individuals to belong to multiple groups. Most commonly, someone who is accountable may also happen to be responsible. But typically, you're going to see folks who are consulting, you probably also want to inform them. And folks who are responsible will probably also be consulting. So I tend to think of it, if someone is responsible, by default, they're also going to be consulting and informing. So I'm not going to have to write that down or record it. It's just assumed. But I always make sure my team knows that. So let's just build one out here real quick. Under this RACI page, I'm going to add a new page. You could build a RACI chart in a Google Doc, in an Excel spreadsheet, on a whiteboard. I like to do it in Confluence or in my knowledge base, directly in the project area, space, or page, so it's all in one spot. First, I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to insert a table. I'll just click on this button, and here we go. I'll start with role, name, and notes. And then I'll just add in my R, my A, my C, and my I. And then from here, I'll just go down my list of folks who might be involved and slot them into the right spot. So in this made-up example, I might have my development team and also have a quality assurance team that I want in here. For accountable, I'm going to say the engineering manager is accountable for this. So ultimately, my EM or engineering manager is on the hook to make sure that this goes successfully. And I'm going to add a note here that this engineering manager may not actually be writing code or working on it, so they might not be responsible, but they're still accountable. They're still managing it. Under consult, I'm going to think through and say we have an outside consultant to help us out because this is new technology. And because it's related to building a finance thing, I'm going to say the finance team. And then I have some special notes here. I'll say the consulting team provides input on our backend design and integrations, and the finance team's more on the front end, the UI. Again, everything we build this for will have its own specific notes or names or roles, but it's important to clarify what these groups are expected to do so there's less confusion over who's doing what. And that's one of the big purposes of a RACI chart. It's to clarify these roles. Now in form, I might have a few other folks in here. I might say the HR team and general executives. I'll say the HR team needs to know how payroll could be impacted, and the executives have to know when things will be live so they know what's going on. I'll publish this, and there's one other thing I'm going to do, which is add some labels to it. So I'll hit the L key or just click Add Label. And I'm going to put down RACI. I'm going to add a RACI label and a project document label. And this will just help me sort things later and find them. But here I've quickly built out that RACI chart. Again, this could be in a spreadsheet or a Google Doc or anywhere you're comfortable. And it's telling me who's responsible for the work, who's accountable or on the hook for success or failure, who I need to consult or chat with, and who I need to inform. Depending on the size of your project or task, this could be bigger or smaller. You might have multiple teams helping out in different areas, but taking the time to figure out who is responsible, accountable, consulting, and informing will make it much easier when the project gets started and reduce confusion on who's going where to do what. So that's a RACI chart. There are other examples of these that have different roles. For example, a PACSI chart, PACSI, which is who's performing, who's accountable, who's controlling, who's suggesting, and who's informed. But regardless of which one you use, it's important because it helps clarify who does what. And while that doesn't seem like a big important thing at some point, it is really important because it will clarify those expectations and help you as a project manager or someone on the team know where to go for help, or know who should be stepping up to help build the thing, or who to go to if you have concerns over success or failure. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please drop your thoughts in the comments if you want to learn more about RACI charts or its variations. And I hope to see you again in another one of these videos soon.